Hello everyone and welcome. This is Christine with Patter Crafts, and today I'm making a fall themed card using the fall leaves stencil from Echo Park. And I'm also using the Aria, or maybe it's pronounced Aria, stamp here from Lavinia Stamps. I'm not 100% sure on the name of that stencil because somewhere between using it, cleaning it, and bringing it back to my craft room, I have misplaced the package. But it's definitely like fall leaves. So if I can find the package, I will put the correct name in the description below in case anyone wants to know. So for my card, I totally envisioned how this card was going to look the moment I saw this stamp online. So it's been in the process of my brain for quite a while, and we are just getting around to creating it today. So I'm envisioning that this fairy is bringing fall to, I don't know, at least me. We'll say the Northeast. I don't know about the rest of the country, but uh, Vermont this past weekend, you definitely are feeling fall in the air, and you're seeing fall if you are driving anywhere because the leaves are starting to turn. Not a ton of them, but enough that you know fall is in the air. I don't mind. Fall is my absolute favorite time of year, but winter is usually right behind it, and I'm not necessarily looking forward to winter. But anyway, so because I'm envisioning her bringing fall, we are going to be masking off from her hands out to the corner as if as if fall is coming magically from her out into the world. So I'm going to just mask off where I want the leaves to be, and then I'm going to put the stencil over the top, and we are going to go ahead and adhere that down just using a piece of white like invisible tape, because it's what I had on hand. My craft mat is in the kitchen. I'd used it in an earlier project and had to clean it, and it was drying, and I didn't feel like going to get it. So we're using paper today. I am masking off where her hands are because I don't want to get any of this on her hands. I want it to be a little bit away from her hands to start. So we'll go ahead and cover those up. So the distress ink colors that I'm using today are Wild Honey, Fired Brick, and Black Soot. So we're starting with the Wild Honey, bringing in that Fired Brick, and then we're going to finish off with some Black Soot right on the corner there. Trying to go over this several times to make sure I can get as crisp of an image as possible with a stencil, and also trying to blend those colors just a little bit. So once I'm happy with that outcome, we'll go ahead, take the stencil off, we'll take off that masking paper, and then we are going to add some of the Wild Honey Distress ink to all of the white space. You could totally redo this card and not fill in the white space, but when I think of kind of fall cards or Halloween cards, I'm not thinking bright and cheerful. I'm thinking, early evenings and just something that's a little bit darker. So we are going to go ahead and add the Wild Honey first. As I'm putting this down, I'm wondering if this is going to be dark enough, but it ends up fine because I smear a little bit of the image with that wild honey. Like, the image wasn't 100% dry yet, and so when I went over the image with the wild honey, it smeared a little, but that was fine because let's just bring in some Black Soot and we will cover up some of that smearing and darken a lot of that white space again. I'm trying to avoid going into the area that the leaves are coming out of her hand. I want to leave those to be a slightly different tone than the rest of the white space. So we're going to end up leaving that like that. And I really want to try to darken up those areas, but not too much. So once I have the main panel all set, I need to stamp my greeting. So my sentiment says fall greetings. This sentiment comes from the Teresa Talks Fall stamp set from Scrapping for Less. Now I want to make sure I get this on straight. Earlier I'd made a card and I thought it was straight. It looked like it was all lined up on the lines on my Misty, but when I stamped it, it was off just a little bit. So I ended up bringing in this piece of acetate to just put over the card, do like a stamping on the acetate, make sure it fell exactly where I wanted it to, and it did. So we took the acetate away and stamped the sentiment directly onto my card front. So once that is done, we're going to go ahead and grab the card base, which I have already adhered a white mat on the inside. I don't know what I want to do with the inside of this card, so I'm just going to leave the white mat and we are not going to do anything with that today. So for my main panel here, I'm going to pop it up on foam tape. The card base will kind of act as a mat underneath. This card base was cut with a stitched rectangle die. It's the largest in the set that I have. So I'm not 100% sure of the dimensions, but it gives a nice border when you put it on the card like that. So once this is all set, we are going to add our finishing touches. I'm taking a black gel pen and just adding a bunch of dots between all the lines to just kind of fill in that area a little bit. Then I'm going to bring in some diamond stickles. At first I was just going to do a leaf here or a leaf there, but I end up doing it on all of the little leaf images, even the little ones that are kind of like cut off from the masking. And we are just going to add a bunch of sparkle to these leaves because why not? I love fall. I think it's a magical time of year and this is completely fitting for me. So we are going to go ahead and finish up with the stickles on all these leaves and we are going to basically call this card done. I did add a little tape runner there to the inside because it didn't want to stay still and I didn't want the stickles to move. So thank you so very much for joining me today. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you'd like to see more and you're not already, please hit that subscribe button. But until next time, everyone, have a great day.